What is up, everyone? And what a crazy week we had. I sure do hope I got that right. I am not good at sign language. I practice, I practice, but still not good. Not good. I mean, I could. I mean, I know the ABCs, and I practice, some words, but not enough to actually have a decent conversation with a deaf person yet. Need to work on that a little bit more, as well as trying to get this out. So there's that. All right. Last week, I want to say on a personal note, not a whole lot has happened. I'm kind of and I'm a little glad about that. I'm really glad because Lord knows, after my eye acting up and stuff like that. I'm just, I am over that. Okay. Um, I also am glad that winter is over. I was tired of freezing. As anybody knows, I'm a warm weather guy. What I'm saying? In the summer, I sleep with the heater on. That's a joke. I don't do that. But thanks to probably, global warming, there's a good chance that might happen. And I'm bringing up global warming because it was storming its butt off like earlier today. You know what I mean? Like earlier today, it was storming its butt off, but you probably couldn't tell from going outside. It was just and speaking of storms, as much as I don't like the idea of them giving a whole bunch of money to, Brett Favre and the $1 Million Man, my heart does go out to the people who lost their lives and their stuff and their loved ones in Mississippi because, I'm from, I'm Southern, I'm from Louisiana, so it's like while I haven't had any personal experience losing my things in the hurricanes or the tornadoes or any storms or any natural occurrences, I mean, first off, the opportunity is always still there. Like it's always there's always a possibility of that happening. But also, my heart does go out to people like that because it's a very terrible thing to happen, and I'm just not okay with the idea of just nature just ruining things. You can finally be having your life on track, and all of a sudden that happens. It's a very sad thing. It's a very sad thing. Um, but at the same time, I'm more than certain that that probably would not have happened if they didn't try to bring back Jim Crow. I'm just saying. I'm gonna probably be heavily political on this one because a lot of political stuff has happened. Such as, and I can't when I was a kid growing up, I love using that line because I was a kid at one time. You know what I mean? When I was growing up, I actually did hear one song of a man of a specific hairstyle persuasion, and he was chanting to the breeze of copious amounts of inhaled smoke fumes from a greenery substance. He was actually going to clean his room before he partook. And he was actually going to get a broom before he partook. His room is actually still messed up, if I'm not mistaken. And we all know why. I like to think we do. Because he partook, because he partook, because he partook. But the fact of the matter is that this, it's like he really okay. So for those who don't know, Afroman got his house broken into by cops, and then they proceeded to destroy some of his property and then steal his money. Afroman has a surveillance footage of these things happening, and he decided to make just do a little satire about it. You know what I'm saying? So he made a song, basically. I think it was called "Are you going to fix my? Are you going to help fix my door?" Right? And and because he's Afro Man, and because the song is actually kind of catchy, it did get some money so he could get his property fixed. And now the police officers are suing him for it. Now, I said before, I'm not a fan of entertainment news because I don't really see the relevance in them. But this is relevant. I need for y'all to understand something real quick. Why? Why? It's like, like there's this thing basically going on where they're basically saying there's this thing going on where they're essentially saying, oh, well, because he did this, it affected my job, it affected my mind, it affected certain things. And the first thing that went through my mind is, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. Like that's good. That's a good one for the lawyers. But no, you absolutely did not. No, sirree, Bob, you did not. But it's just sort of, it stresses me out because it's like, that this is like, like looking into this made me think exactly kind of like how the police union is one of the best unions in the country. You know what I mean? Like, it's all, I'm not saying you can't get in trouble if you're a cop, but it's very, very, very hard to get in trouble when you're a cop and you do something terrible. But it's like, think about how awesome other jobs would be if unions were like how they were for police officers. You know what I'm saying? Like, just imagine if like the union for police officers were had the same kind of strong power for like fast food places, restaurants, retail stores. Bro, you would have cashiers with like comfy chairs right now. You see what I'm saying? You know, just the impossible stuff that's happening. I'm talking like ridiculously good paychecks, bro. You know what I mean? So it just sort of like makes me a little stressed out that, the industry that is an industry that is like known for like corruption and devastation, and just like every time we look up there's like another controversy about police officers, and their union is spectacular. The litigation involved in whatever happens with a police officer is just amazing. But you can get fired from your job simply because your boss don't want you to go to work anymore, and that's it. You see what I'm saying? It's just stressful to me. Um, so it's like, I honestly hope that this suit happens, because according to Afroman, if he appeal it, it's gonna be a pretty easy case. It's like, I got video footage of them doing the thing. Okay. Speaking of politics, I just realized that we have like a banking crisis going on, and it really kind of stressed me out because I currently I am associated with a guy who actually got robbed by the bank. Like, he went to his bank account and he had no money in there anymore. Like, the money that he had up in there, all accounts was like $0, right? And so he goes over, he's calling up the help desk, and he's like, hey, where's my money? And they're like, well, we understand that there was an error, some blah 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 blah, but we're gonna mail you a check. And apparently they mailed the check to the wrong address. So he's like, well, can you send me another check? Can you just knock that check out, cancel that check out, and then just send me, another one at this address, because this is my current address. And apparently it's easier to pull teeth than to get these people to do stuff like this, because like now he's kind of, you know, and to put this in perspective, he's a soldier, and he's going through this. You see what I'm saying? He's a soldier. Like when I think of people who can kind of just get away with things, I think I think rich people, white people, soldiers, and rich Republicans, right? And he's a soldier. You know what I'm saying? If there was a list of people who can get away with stuff, it should be this guy. So it's kind of the fact that he's being challenged, by a system that did him wrong, it's just wild to me. You know what I mean? So it's like the banking crisis just makes me sort of like just question, like it just makes me think that maybe the banking crisis is intentional. Like, I'm thinking that they're doing this on purpose because as poor people, or as the lower class, so to speak, right? The only power that we have in this country is our votes and our money. So it's like they're already trying to get rid of our votes by sort of normalizing. Man, I got some fat hands, dude. Um, like by normalizing, the idea of something voting instead of us. So you have like the electoral college, you have the congressional map, and you have like gerrymandering is actually a thing because the guy who created gerrymandering is like, what if like the person, what if a person could choose who votes for them? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So it is like it's just like it's a lot of corruption that goes into like these things. So they're trying to take away our voting right, and then they're trying to take away our money. Trying to take away, like either trying to make sure that we don't get it, or make sure that it's useless when we do. So, like I said, I want to be wrong about this because I don't want to like sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it's just it's kind of too on the nose that there's an entire organization dedicated to a whole bunch of like racists that want to kind of wrap up white supremacy in religion and basically say, we need poor people in prisons. You know what I'm saying? And what better way to get poor people in prisons than to make homelessness illegal, make make everything that we don't like illegal, right? And then just put all these people in prison because prison is the only place that we could reinforce slavery at. I mean, like, and let's be real, Republicans and the right wing and conservatives, all those cats are all racist, and they all got like this little hitting. They got this little group called the Council of National Policy, which even in the name sounds kind of nefarious because you're the Council of National Policy. You're calling yourselves the government, because like national policy are laws, and you're calling yourself the council of that. So you're basically saying we are a collection of groups of people who is trying to make America, trying to establish American policies on the entire country at once. And it's like, man, wow, this it's like these people are evil now. These people have proven who they are. And it's stressing me out. Like, I'm not, and I need for y'all to understand, I'm not a fan of the Democrats either. I'm not saying that the Democrats are good. I'm not telling you to support the Democrats. I'm not telling you vote blue no matter who, nothing like that. Because Kirsten Sinema is a terrible human being. Joe Manchin is also a terrible human being. Joe Biden is also, he's a bit of an idiot. But the fact of the matter is that like, like if you had it's like, which one sounds worse? You know what I'm saying? The one who kind of doesn't hurt you but does everything else wrong, or the person who does everything else wrong and hurts you. You know what I mean? I feel like pull the band-aid out a little bit and just realize that, like, if there was any, like, there's the anti-hero and then there's the actual villain. You see what I'm saying? The anti-hero has good intentions, but just willing to do the dumbest thing in order to make it work. Whereas the actual villain is trying to hurt somebody to benefit themselves. And once again, I'm not saying to support the Democrats or whatever, but it's just like wild to me how, there's groups of people out here who's just supporting Republicans because it satisfies their racist viewpoint of America. You know what I'm saying? It's just wild to me. I mean, just remember, only one party is basically trying to say we have to make stuff that we don't like illegal. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the party that has the people that they don't like in it. Okay, moving along. I'm going to try to end this on a positive note here. I'm just, like I said, I'm just glad that winter is over because, I'm trying to sweat off these pounds. I have been trying to work out lately, but like, unfortunately, the bigger I get. So, I'm hopeful. Like, the goal now is if I can't get rid of this, I'm gonna at least try to like get my chest and my shoulders and my biceps out to at least kind of sort of complement for my stomach a little bit. Because I think that I can get slimmer, but if I can't, I want to at least, like have tighter chest. And at the end of the day, it's not even that I want to look a certain way as much as I want to be able to be fit enough to do the stuff that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to backflip. Like as a kid, I used to see people do backflips all the time. So I want to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to like increase my vertical leap and do a backflip like off the ground, not off of like an elevated surface to the ground. Um, so that is the next plan. Uh, Speaking of which, I gotta go to the trampoline gym again. That used to be my home. That used to be my second home. All right, guys. Love, peace, happiness. Treat each other with respect because not just because it's counterculture, but because it's also better than being a jerk. Also, just pointing this out here. You're always on my mind. You're always on my mind. Uh, you'll like who they'll get it when they see it. Love and peace, y'all.